Okay, I wanted to make a video because I just learned that November 2nd every year is a national holiday. And that holiday is called Look for Circles Day. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, since I love circles, I'm going to share a little bit about a circle and all the cool principles that can go with it. Well, not all of them, but some of them. So circles are kind of like a tool. They're a symbol for things. We have the letter A, that's a symbol for the sound A or A or ah. Anyway, but what can a circle represent? So I call this the 3 dimensions of a circle. And there's probably more, but let me explain. So a circle's cool because in order to see a circle, there has to be a point of origin. So if you look at a circle, you know that there's a dot in the middle. That's got to be the center. If you're creating a circle and you use a protractor, a compass, you put the point in the middle, and then you have the other end, and you can draw a full, complete circle. But you can't get a circle unless you have the center. So it's grounded, it's centered. So I'm going to put point. First dimension of a circle is there's a point. And if you think about the point within the hole, you can think it's symbolic of yourself. Of yourself or your center. Okay, it is the point of everything, the point of the circle. It's what's the point, what's the center, what's the purpose, what's the self within the whole. So those are kind of some principles I think about when I think about a point. Now from that point you can draw the outline. And obviously I wasn't constant, but normally would be. So let's change chalk color. Make this actually yellow. Okay, so from the point you can draw the circle. You see that it is a shape. You see the shape. So that's kind of like the second dimension. First you just have this point and it exists. It's there, but you can't even actually normally see it. You don't see it. It's not defined until there's a shape. So the shape actually defines where the center is. The shape it's like an outline. It's something that holds something inside of it. You can think of it being kind of like a family. This is like the family, and there's it's a unit. There's things within it, so it holds things, it defines things. I'm going to put family. It goes around and around and around. You can see that it shows the principle of being eternal. So that's shape. What else? If you were to roll it, it would roll one direction. It would go forward or back. So it moves, but it's slightly limited. The next dimension would be if you could turn it and see that it's actually like a globe. Or a ball. So I'll kind of show like that. So it makes it more 3D. So I'm going to call that form. So these are the 3 dimensions. Let's see if you can see form there. These are the 3 dimensions. Now you don't just have a shape that is 2-dimensional and is flat. You have a 3D form. And when you blow that up, really it gives a fullness. There is a fullness or wholeness to the point and the shape. It's more rich and full. A ball is not flat. It's fully rounded, so it can roll and move in any direction. It is not limited. The shape was limited in movement. The form is a fullness of movement. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Fullness of movement. It is a whole perspective of that shape from all sides. So multi-perspective, I guess, because it's multi-dimensional. Multi-perspective. Sorry. Anyway, so this is kind of like 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension of a circle. It's really cool when you think about this in terms of education. If you just give your kids a shape, say the letter A, and like A, here's an A, say A, draw A. Next, move on. Here's a B. Yeah. Sure, they're getting the shape. They're getting a defined fact. They're getting information. But when that information points to, there is a purpose, there is something in it. Are we giving our kids also the point of what they're learning? Are we helping them understand the purpose? Are we centering them that it's not just A or whatever? It's these words and letters give us rich meaning and depth. They allow us to see more. If you think about the Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew, so there's modern Hebrew, but modern Hebrew came from original Hebrew, or symbolic Hebrew. And if you think the Aleph used to look like that, it was an ox head. It meant to be powerful or strong. It meant leader or father. It's really interesting. This was a symbol. It wasn't just, oh, A makes this sound, ah. It was, they drew this and they put it there for a symbol to represent the things an ox stood for. So when they learned that, they could include that symbol in their language. So when they, bet is B, so Aleph and bet. When you combine bet, which is like a house, imagine a tent, and there are men on one side, women on the other side. It meant house, it meant family. It also meant father and mother, or men and women, so partnerships or opposites. So there's a ton of different meaning in this one symbol. They learned not just they didn't just learn an outline or shape or some basic thing. They understood a symbol that had a point or a purpose within it, and it had a fullness of meaning. And so they weren't limited in their understanding. When you connect A, B, B, A, you get Abba. A, B, B, A. So you could also write it Aleph, Bet, Bet, Aleph, Abba. Okay, the alphabet, A, B, Aleph, Bet, the alphabet, the alphabet. But when you do A, B, B, A for father in Hebrew, you can represent that as being the father or the leader of the leader of the house, the house's or family's strong one, or the strong house with men and women, or masculine and feminine leader. You know, I mean, you can create it as you want, but it had a rich depth of meaning. And so when you can see that a form or a symbol has meaning and purpose behind it, it gives a rich wholeness of meaning. It's not just an empty shape. Anyway, so when we teach our kids, it's important to ask, are we just giving them shapes? Are we just giving them facts? This plus this equals this. Or are we pointing to the real meaning or center or purpose behind things? Are we helping them learn it for themselves so that their education is truly centered in truth? If it's centered in truth and we define it and give them facts and information that they can use to learn how to learn, we are giving them one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and then they can fill in and feel the fullness and wholeness. We can provide the things that they need to understand that there is a richness and depth, a three-dimensional aspect to learning. So how do we do that? We have to figure out how to teach from a whole perspective, how to teach holistically. And that's why we have this group. Anyway, so happy Circle Day. I hope you can find fun things to do with circles. Emily Erickson and I spent a whole month with our children last year doing circle activities with some other people, and it was really fun with our kids. We figured out all the different ways we could dance in circles or move in circles, or we went on circle scavenger hunts through our house and through nature. We found circles everywhere. We cut our fruit into circles. We found circles in the slices of the fruit or in the shape of the fruit. We would look for centers or outlines. We'd play with balls. We would pivot on our feet and draw circles with our feet, and our bodies just all over. We would use all of our senses to see circles. The mouth is a circle. When you make the O sound, O, and you hold your mouth, O, it is an opening, and it allows for a fullness and a wholeness of your voice to make sound. When it's closed, you don't get fullness and wholeness. But when you open, you get fullness and wholeness. Anyway, so it's fun to kind of see the 3 dimensions of circles all over. If our kids understand all of the richness and depth just behind the symbol of a circle or behind a line, those 2 things, they can totally understand so much more. If you think about the alphabet, it's a bunch of letters that are created from lines and curves. If our children know that the basic building blocks of creation, you can go back to curves or circles and lines, which are also connected. The circle's connected to the number 1. Unity. Oh, I didn't put unity up here. Unity also. Imagine a family holding hands together in a circle, like the outline. It gives a sense of unity, all being one. Circle is related to the number 1. The line is related to the number 2. Let's go back here. Sorry, this video is longer than I wanted, but you can always push stop when you're done. So if you think about the line, you do a dot here and a dot here. You have 2 dots. The symbol of the line having 2 dots, well, they look like opposites. They're different because they're far away. There's separation. So you see the principle of separation, the principle of opposites. But if you connect them, you also see the principle of partnerships. They could be opposite, but they could also be working together. So the first dimension of a line would be opposites or separation. The second dimension would be the actual connecting outline of it, which is partnership. And let's see, or agency. You can think of agency or choice because there's 2 different parts to it. And then there's also being curved. Let's see. If the line was curved or you turn it, you'd have a different direction or a different path. So you can also think of the principle of path or like a plan, directions to follow. So you get direction. Anyway, you can go on and off about that. But if you can just see the letter A, it's a line, another line, and another line. Or the letter B is a line and half of a circle and another half of a circle. The more our kids play with lines and circles and see lines and circles throughout the world, the more they can understand the rich depth of symbols and of meaning in God's basic creations. So you can play with circles. You can have them draw circles. We've been doing form drawing, which is just kind of making up patterns with lines or circles or dots. Or we'll add in some dots. And my kids are really learning to write the alphabet even better because they're seeing, we'll do a pattern like this. And then we'll do the other side. And they'll just draw this pattern over and over in lines across their paper, on lined paper, big lined paper. And it's really fun because then they're like, oh, I see a butterfly. I see the letter B. I see, and they just are a whole new world. It's a whole new world when their eyes can be open to these simple patterns. It makes them better at art. It makes them more profound thinkers of true principles like, oh, circle, unity, or family. And so my children will see a circle and they'll remember family, or they'll see the dot of the circle and be like, oh, I need to be centered, or what is the purpose of this? So we talk about centers. Where are centers on our bodies? Oh, our belly button is a center. Where's the center of our leg? Oh, it's the knee. That's what allows us to bend. Where's the center of our eye? Oh, that helps us focus. Things like that. So if you just remember to have fun with circles for Circle Day, then see what else comes to you and opens your eyes to more exploring. And feel free to share. We love to find new things that we can do with circles and lines. Yeah, have fun.